And once again, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Buffalo History Channel. Tonight, I've got a real special guest on. We're going to continue this Behind the Turntable series. It's been a while since I've done this. The last two gentlemen we had on, DJ Stoney, as well as the late George Gully. And we've been working on this one, has been in the works for quite some time. I am very pleased that many of you know this gentleman. You've been to many of his parties throughout the years. He's going to talk about all about his parties and how he got into DJing and throwing parties. Also, we're going to talk about his extensive work within the Buffalo community. It's my pleasure to welcome the one and only Eric Martin to the Buffalo History Channel. Welcome, my brother.
Hey, Doug, my pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
Good to have you here, man. So let's start with the parties and with what people which you've become really, really popular for over the years. Now, you started out as a DJ. How did that begin for you?
Started out when I was 15. Local, of course, doing the church on Fern Hill, and then left there and went to Mount St. Joseph.
Okay.
I played at the Mount for one night, and everything took off from there.
The Mount, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So just stuck with it, because my whole family was musically inclined.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know my brothers and my cousins. They were the group, the Exotics from Buffalo.
Okay.
With the hit record Springtime Love. So I wasn't a singer and I couldn't play any instrument. So I said, I got to find something to do, because I was a music lover, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Now you said that what were some of the spots that you tell all some of the spots that you played at, that you started out playing at?
Oh, wow. So I started out at the Freedom Train in Stephanie's on Main and Rodney, right?
Okay.
Stayed there for a number of years and left there. Then when Sylvester's opened up, I had the pleasure of going over there with my good friend Ralph Henderson, Whoopie Doo. So we stayed over there together for a minute. Then he moved out of town, and I stayed at Sylvester's. Left Sylvester's, probably became one of the youngest program directors at the Cotton Club over on Bailey and Arding, right? The DJ dance music in front and the concert room was in the back.
Yeah.
So I got the pleasure to work out with a lot of good stars: Alexandra O'Neal, Harold Melvin, Billy Paul. As I moved into the field of working with different people, I got noticed by my good friend Freddie C. for Ellen and Heyman.
Yes.
Right. And started emceeing a couple of concerts from them. My first concert for them was Phyllis Hyman and Frankie Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had the pleasure of being around some stars and be around some good people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
very grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah. Now that back in them days, you mentioned the names of Sylvester's and the Freedom Train and the Cotton Club. Someone my age, I mean, those were not places that I had the opportunity to frequent. Because I was quite young back then. I was like right around in the early 80s. I was around 9-10 years old. But I do know my mother went to a few places. I know she went to. I don't know if she went there, but I do know for a fact her and her girlfriends would frequent Jerry Butler's Big Play. So
Jerry Butler's on Bailey. Right. Yeah, I remember hosting happy hour for the BTF at the Freedom Train because I was only 15 years old DJing at the Freedom Train.
Wow. Okay.
So my job was just to go in. I was a sophomore at Bennett High. That was my job.
Thursday. Stand up.
Yeah, Thursday through Sunday. That was my job. And then it got so good with the crowd, it went from Tuesday to Sunday. So I'll tell you, I was lucky and blessed, So yeah.
Wow. So like I said about those clubs back in the day, can you give our audience, for people around my age and younger, give us an idea of what the nightlife was like in Buffalo to be in some of those places like the Cotton Club and Sylvester's?
So when you got to Sylvester's Friday TGIF happy hour was packed by 5 o'clock. If you weren't in there by 5 o'clock, you were standing outside. Then maybe about 9:30, the crowd would switch over
Yeah,
to that really dance crowd, right?
right.
And just stayed packed. It was unbelievable how packed this club was with people, just having a good time, dancing, drinking, partying, and no trouble. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I
All right.
I I, I remember so well where when we talk about it today that Sylvester stayed crowded from Tuesday through Sunday, which is unheard of. It's really unheard of, where
Yeah.
people come out on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through the course of the week, knowing that you got to get up and go to work, right?
Mhm.
So we were lucky and blessed. So yeah,
Well, speaking of the nightlife, people remember last year I posted a video, never before seen footage, some rather rare footage of Buffalo nightlife back in the early '80s at the Freedom Train, and
right.
I've got some of it right here, and I'm gonna play it for you and play it for the audience and see if this. I'm sure it'll stir up some memories for you, and if you can comment on it, and as they
Okay.
say, and do like a reaction video, as they say on YouTube, to
Okay.
looking at some footage.
Okay.
So let me
Yeah.
set this up. So this ought to be pretty good to look at. This is the Freedom Train back in 1981, and I know it's been a long time, but
Right.
hopefully nobody see if you can recognize some people, and hopefully nobody was out doing nothing we shouldn't have been doing, or had nobody being with somebody had no business being with. Hopefully we
Right.
ain't blowing nobody.
Right.
But here you go. Here's the Freedom Train, 1981. See if you recognize any of these folks.
Oh yeah.
That dude having a good time.
Oh yeah. Gap band playing in the background,
Yep.
in and out of my life, right? Wow, look at that crowd. Look at that crowd, right?
Yeah, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah, but he
recognize I recognize faces, right?
okay.
Yeah. Look at all those beautiful black folks in there.
Everybody's dressed to the nines.
Everybody's dressed.
People on the dance floor.
Right. Notice they had glass mirrors on the dance floor.
Yep.
You see the reflection of the disco ball spinning.
Yep.
Wow. This is the first time I've ever seen this footage.
Wow. Okay.
Like, there go Pete. That's Pee Wee right there.
Okay.
Wow, that's some good footage right there.
Yeah, man. Place is packed.
Just imagine that, man. Like seeing an audience that big,
Everybody's fellas talking to the ladies. I mean, people not stand up against the wall. Everybody's socializing.
Right.
Ain't nobody on their cell phones. They didn't have any back
No,
then.
didn't have any back then.
My man having a good time. He's
Oh
standing
yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, for sure, right?
Got them Jerry curls. That'll tell you when it was. All right.
Oh,
All right. Well, there you
that's
go.
that's some good footage, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Definitely had to include that in the interview when you hit me up.
1981, huh? I had just graduated from Bennett. I
Wow.
graduated
Okay.
1980, so I was still at the Freedom Train. Me and Lee Riley was the owner back then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember talking to you early today because I thought I heard that you had some involvement or participation in because of course Juneteenth is right around the corner. And I
Right.
heard
Right.
you said you had some participation in the very first Juneteenth, or you had some memories to share.
My brother and them had the pleasure of doing a concert during Juneteenth at War Memorial Stadium.
Okay.
So it was Robert Winter Fall, the Exotics, BT Express, Tom Brown, Funkin' for Jamaica, and
Wow.
Unlimited Touch, Searching to Find the One. I remember that day because it poured raining the whole day.
Oh yeah.
So we had to postpone the concert early
Mhm.
because it poured raining. Yeah, I remember that oh so well.
Okay. Well, that's those some great memories, man, and we're
Right.
definitely going to share some many more. So I
Yeah.
want to, but in addition to well, I can't let this before we get to the community part. I
Right.
want to talk with you about the parties that everybody's familiar with in modern day times.
Yes.
The Memorial Day parties and the parties in November, right after
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. So, been at Pearl Street for 27 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 27 years we've been at Pearl Street. Just trying to, get some folks together because, we don't get to see each other anymore like we used to, right?
Of course.
Well, when I say folks our age, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And we party on 2 floors at Pearl Street. Most of the time, it's a band on the 3rd floor and DJs on both floors with free food. Nice.
Mhm.
It's the most talked about adult crowd in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, very great, very grateful to the proprietors of Pearl Street. That they
Mhm.
let us hang out there and do our thing. So my retirement party was 2018. It was
Mhm.
called Unplug. When the DJ gets done, you unplug your stuff.
Right.
And just got flooded with a lot of phone calls and a lot of people was like, "Man, Eric, you can't stop, man. We ain't got no place to go."
Mhm.
So I sat down and I thought about it, and I said, "Well, you know what? God willing, and I'm still in good standard and good health.
Absolutely.
I said, let me go back and just finish doing." But I retired from Buffalo Board of Education 24 years,
Okay.
and I retired from Dunlop slash Goodyear tires for 24 years. So those were my side jobs for all those years.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to keep the money coming in, man.
Got to
Got to,
keep the money. Got to keep the money flowing.
and that's the one thing about trying to retire from or calling yourself retiring from something. It's almost like we never do retire.
Right.
I mean, I thought
Right.
I was going to retire from this by 2025, and
Right.
here I am still doing it, coming up with the Buffalo History Channel in 2020, and
Right.
this has been successful. And now
Oh, and
here,
we love
yeah,
the work that you do, man. We love you. We love the work that you do.
I
Right.
appreciate that, man.
Right.
So let's shift into your community work because
Yes.
all this partying doesn't come with work in the
Right.
community.
Yes.
Now you've been just as busy. You ran the BFNC summer camp program and Big Brother
Yes.
Sister Be a Friend. You were you were helped out in sports as an assistant coach at
Right.
Burgard and a head coach at Cheektowaga Central for the junior varsity basketball team. Can you talk about some of that work?
Yeah. I started out doing a teacher assistant and got promoted to security at Burgard.
Okay.
And next thing you know, just hanging out in the gym, talking to the kids. Basketball coach Don Bresky and Ron Pugh came up, say, "Hey, we got an opening for assistant coach. It's not paying, but that's okay. It was an opportunity for me to learn, more about coaching and development, and also I had a good relationship with the kids then.
Mhm.
So we went to 2 Yale Cups. We went to the sectionals. Lost by 2 points in Glen Falls, but it was a memorable time in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I built relationship with a lot of students, either I was your father, or I was your big brother, or the man that you didn't want to see come down the hall if you were
Right.
doing something, out of the ordinary. But Burgard was a great time in my life because the kids were super. Kids were super. You know what I mean? So Yeah, I wouldn't give that. I wouldn't give that back for anything in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how was your the BFNC program?
Yeah. BFNC was Buffalo Federation Neighborhood Center, of course. Ron Pugh got me hired there. They fell in love with me, so they made me a supervisor for summer camp. So I had the responsibility because once again, I love kids. I ran summer camp for about 10 years there, up at Maston Park, Maston and Best and Jefferson, should I say? You know, the park where they're remodeling now. So I stayed up there for as long as the program ran. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, right. So, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the Buffalo audience that's watching this right now?
Well, yeah, I just want to thank them. You know, I just won an Ebony Award Saturday night, and
Awesome. I saw that
I'm
on Facebook.
right, and I'm being inducted at the end of the month in Burgard, right, for once again the work that I put in there. But for the folks to Buffalo, I just want to thank you for supporting me for all these years. You come out, you know, you show your true colors, how much you love me, you love my music, and it's just a great feeling. And when I tell you I'm grateful that we can get that many people to get together with no problems, right?
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. People come out and show their love, eat, drink, socialize, dance. It's a good time. So I'm just thank you to the people of Buffalo.
What do you think? What are your views on the importance of keeping up the Buffalo nightlife? And being one of the pioneers of it, and just seeing other people carry on the traditions of it today.
Yeah, well, you know, we got a lot of good people doing things now. You know, Dennis Wilson, right?
Absolutely.
Oakland, Marnetta with the Jefferson
Oh,
Avenue thing
yeah.
going right, and
Mhm.
you know, I don't want to miss anybody. All my fellow DJs, you know,
Mhm.
who are doing stuff. Stoney, Slim, you know, Eddie Brown, you know, my former brother Bennett Tiger also. So we got a lot of people trying to keep the tradition up, and really, it's the music that the people follow, right?
Absolutely.
It's always been the music. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Um, the thing that a lot of times people don't understand is that the music is our culture. It's our life. It's a way that we were always able to work through troubled times, to get through things. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's why I've always, if you come in my house, there's speakers everywhere. There's not a room that doesn't have a speaker.
That's that from that DJing, man.
That's from that DJ. And to be exact, the system that I have down here now was the system I had at Sylvester's. Those clip
Wow.
speakers, they and those are special ordered, clips.
Uh,
So I just you got to have an ear for music, right?
you do. You do.
I said, God knows, where I've been around this music all my life, and I'm still digging it, man. The music has changed from 45 to 33, to 12-inch to albums. You know, still digging this music though. All the new artists that we have out here and coming up. It's a,
Mhm.
it's a it's a beautiful thing. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on the Buffalo History Channel. I know this has been a long time coming. I've had a lot of people recommend you that me
well,
to
thank you,
come on the Buffalo History Channel, and I said
thank you.
absolutely,
Thank you,
absolutely.
man. I appreciate this opportunity. And, for years, I've DJ'd your mother's functions
Yes, you
for,
did. You
for
did.
School 53 for
Uh-huh,
years.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful mom you have. And
Mhm.
uh, you don't find people who run school buildings the way she did.
Yeah.
Right. So we're very grateful. Very
Yes.
grateful.
Yeah, we all miss community school, those community
Right,
school 53 days.
right. So, but Doug, I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
And it's nothing but love back to you, brother. Okay.
Nothing but love here as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
Thank
see
you,
you.
man.
I'll be back in town. I'm gonna see how you and everybody else at
Yeah.
Juneteenth.
Please come out. We got a couple of tribute shows coming up
Okay.
uh real soon. So I'll let you know. You
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
in, just walk right on in. Okay.
All right, brother.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you, man.
All right,
One
brother.
love. All
One
right.
love.